Alright, Kimbo White here. I'll talk about the Nick Diaz and George St. Pierre fight coming up. Oh man, this is a huge fight. Can't believe we finally put it together. And what's pretty crazy to me is that, Dana said when Zuffa bought Strikeforce that, no, in several interviews we all saw him, no, we will not co-promote. So, no, we will not see any of these super fights. We will not see any of these super fights put together. So, I'm not really sure exactly what the plan is there at UFC 137, but I know that the fight's been signed and it's official. So, we can stop all the boxing talk with Nick Diaz and Jeff Lacey and all that. Not even worth talking about anymore. Really, probably never was, because it was Nick's schemed again to Dana and Zuffa's skin, and it worked. So I'm glad it did. They have not announced if it's going to be a title unification bout. I don't think it will be able to be unless the UFC is just going to go ahead and buy out Diaz's other contract, however they do that. They own it. So, but anyways, they have not announced if it will be a title unification bout. St. Pierre, obviously, 5 of his last 6 fights have went the distance. Diaz has finished 9 out of his last 10. Only 1 out of his last 10 has went the distance. He is going to push St. Pierre to end the fight before the 5th round. And if this one goes the distance, it's because George holds him down the whole fight. But I don't really see it happening. More or less, what it boils down to is I think Diaz's contract allows him to pretty much fight where he wants until his Strikeforce contract's up and they re-sign a new UFC one. Then it'll be an exclusive contract just like everyone else in the UFC. But for right now, he can do what he wants, so it allows them, contract-wise, to let him come over and fight somebody in the UFC. Which I think we're going to find that is going to be true with everyone. Fedor, and yeah, they're going to start putting these fights together. Without a doubt, this is a sign of it. And, really couldn't ask for a better one to start off with. I'd rather see this fight than I'd rather see this fight than Fedor against anybody in the heavyweight division right now. That'd probably be the next fight. Those are the 2 I want to see first. So, hats off to Zuffa for throwing this thing together. But, I was kind of looking at some stats and stuff here on SureDog. And when you look at these guys' records, man, I mean, they've done everything. Both these guys have done as much for the sport as anybody ever has. They're almost to that status of, they're both at the great fighter status right now, really. Diaz, in the last 2 years, has fought every 3 months, pretty much. In the last year, he fought every 3 months. He fought 4 times last year. Defended his title all 4 times, I believe. I'm not on that page anymore, but I'm pretty sure all 4. 4 title defenses now. I have to go back to that page here in a minute. But anyways, I know Diaz is 25-7. He's got out of the 7 losses, only 2 of them are considered a TKO, and 5 of them are decision. Of the 2 TKOs, 1 of those is a doctor stoppage. So you have in 32 fights, this guy's got finished 1 time. And I have to go back and look, but it was in 2004 or 2001 or something. So I can't even remember who it was to be. But you look at St. Pierre's record, 22-2. You guys got 1 TKO and 1 submission loss in 24 fights. And the list that this guy's fought goes on and on and on. You couldn't ask for all the way down to the very first. His first 3 fights. I'm not real familiar with the guys. uh, Ivan Menjivar, Justin Bruckman, and Travis Galbraith. From that point on, this dude has fought, George St. Pierre has fought 21 tough name guys. Well, I'm not real sure who Dave Strasser is, but you know, Thomas Denny, Pete Spratt, Carl Parisian, Jay Heron, you know, Matt Hughes 3 times, Jason Miller, Frank Trigg, Sean Chirk, BJ Penn twice, Matt Sarah, Josh Koscheck twice, Sarah twice, Fitch, Thiago Alves. I mean, you know, Dan Hardy, Jake Shields. So, now, if you go and you look over here at Nick Diaz, I'll punch his name in here real fast. Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz, 25-7-0. 13 TKOs, 8 submissions, 4 decisions. 5 decision losses. So, you got 5 guys out of 32 fights that have went the distance with him and beat him. You got 4 guys that went the distance and lost. So, out of his 9 times the guys went the distance with him, he's pretty much split down the middle. You know, and he's knocked out 13 guys and submitted 8 people. He only really has one real fight in his career that he's been finished, and that is let me find it. Jeremy Jackson, King of the Mountain, 2002, TKO punches. The other TKO was a doctor stoppage with the first fight with KJ Noons. And, you know, I think what this fight boils down to is we all realize that it's probably going to be a matter of can GSP hold Nick Diaz down? Can GSP strike and hurt Nick Diaz while he has him down and still be able to hold him down? That's the thing with me. GSP does not want to stand with Nick Diaz. GSP, if he stands with Nick Diaz and tries to stuff his friend in his last couple of fights, he will get knocked out, knocked down, TKO'd. He will get roughed up. If he doesn't get finished, he would get hamburger on the feet. Hamburger. You know, I'm assuming that GSP is going to be able to get the takedown because he can't. We haven't seen anybody get in the cage with GSP that he could not get a takedown. No one. Nobody has been able to keep from his takedowns completely. So I think he'll get the takedown. But holding Diaz down and being able to strike and wrap him up is another thing. Now I know in MMA these days all you gotta do is hold the guy down for 5 rounds and you'll win the fight, but or for 3 out of the 5 and you'll win the fight. But I just don't know if GSP can do that with Nick Diaz. And the thing is, Diaz never tires. He's going to push the pace, whether he's on his back trying for submissions or whether it's on the feet. Now, GSP never tires, and GSP's going to push the pace too. But I don't think he's probably going to make it a big secret that. I mean, he's probably not going to. They probably won't come out and say much about their game plans, but I don't think it's going to be a big secret to everybody that George doesn't want to stand with Nick, and Nick's going to be trained strictly on having, strong wrestlers take him down and take down the fence and getting back up. and perfecting his submission. As long as his striking stays at where it is, the level that it is right now, he's head and shoulders above GSP in that department. But one thing you forget about George St. Pierre is that the guy's got 5 submission wins to his credit, so he's no slouch himself. George St. Pierre is 5'10". Nick Diaz is 6'1". I'm assuming that there's probably about a 3 to 4 inch reach advantage there for Diaz as well, which will come into play big time in the boxing and the st-up. And the way Diaz stands with his stance back and keeps that paw and jab out, it's going to be hard for St. Pierre to get his takedown. But I think what he'll do is secure some type of single leg, maybe down as far as the knee or the ankle area, and then, pick Diaz up or run him back to the cage from there, and, take him down from there. But Diaz is going to want to punch George St. Pierre in the face, 100%. 100%. And if he goes up to his back, then that'll be it'll be what he's trained probably the hardest on, because it's what he's going to expect. But it'll be plan B for Diaz. It's what he's going to expect, but for him it's plan B. Plan A for him is to keep his distance, punch St. Pierre in the face, break his nose or clip his jaw right off the top, right off the beginning of the fight, maybe get a cut above the eye, work his face like he does everybody else in the body, and I just don't see him being able to land the body shots and stuff that he does on other guys either without just getting slammed to the ground. So I think, it's pretty much going to be a headhunt for Diaz. He's going to be headhunting, keeping his distance. GSP is going to sit there and try to shoot in for the single leg, set it up right. He'll be waiting for Diaz to swing. And what I hope we don't see is a boring fight, but I just really can't see that happening, because I don't see that happening, because I don't think Diaz is not in a boring fight. He won't let that happen, and he's probably going to push St. Pierre to have to finish him, or he's going to finish St. Pierre. I just really don't see him letting it go. I don't see the fight going 5 rounds, unless in the later couple of rounds GSP can hold Diaz down. But I don't see it happening. He's a triathlon. So, I think if it's a ground battle, it'll be a ground battle for 5. If it's a ground battle for 5 rounds, that's what it'll be, a ground battle for 5 rounds. I don't think it'll be him just holding him down. I think he'll have to take him down repeatedly if he does. And I think Diaz has every chance in the world of beating GSP. For some reason, we got Nick Diaz, number 6 in the world, welterweight, on Sherdog. I don't know where that's coming from, but number 1 pound for pound and number 1 welterweight in the world, George St. Pierre. Man, I think that just reflects a lot on who they've been fighting for. Oh man, I don't see Nick Diaz being number 6 in the world at welterweight. Maybe he's got a couple people to beat to prove that he's in the top 3, but he's got to be in the top 5 at welterweight. There's no way Nick Diaz is in the top 5 welterweights right now. I want to get your opinions on this. This is like the biggest fight since Couture and Lesnar, or one of the Fedor fights, man. So, I want all your input on this. Give me some good insight from everybody. And have yourself a good night. It's been the last word with Kimbo White.